All right, this week's interview in place takes us into the weight room with Gary Uribe, who is the head coach of the strength and conditioning performance coach at San Jose State. Gary, it's great to see your face. I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Justin. It's great to see you, and it's great to be here and have the opportunity to talk shop with you about our student athletes and San Jose State.
Well, let's just give a quick overview here. How long have you been with San Jose State University?
I'm in my 8th year.
Okay, and just kind of an overview, I guess, as you would describe your position.
My position is responsible for seeing the entire athletic performance department at our home base is at a Correct Athletic Performance Training Center there in the South Campus. I oversee 22 teams, and I have a staff, including myself, of 6 people that I manage.
So over a normal summer period, right, just a normal year, no COVID, would you guys be designing workouts for student athletes if they need to take it home or having weight room facilities available for those that are in town? And how different was it this year when, you know, everything's locked down and you can't have people come in?
Yeah, good question. Normally we'd design workouts when they go home, packets, if you will, for them. But the challenge was that not every athlete has access to the same equipment that's needed to conduct these workouts or execute these workouts properly. So that was the challenge. So a lot of body weight workouts and a lot of stuffed book bag workouts or backpacks, if you will, and just getting creative and getting them moving in space with some weighted implements that if in the event they didn't have access to your typical dumbbells or kettlebells or barbells or bumper plates, stuff like that. So the running piece was a lot easier the conditioning piece was a lot easier to create because you could go outside, social distance. But obviously the indoor piece or the weightlifting piece was a little bit challenging, but we got it done.
Now, how many are on your staff that are helping design these? I mean, you mentioned 22 sports. Obviously, a lot of student athletes coming in and out. How many do you have with you working on that?
Well, I have 5, 6 counting myself. I have 5 assistant coaches, and primarily each coach is responsible for a set amount of Olympic sport teams, and that coach therefore would be responsible for designing the workouts for the Olympic sport team that they're assigned to. For football, it's myself and Aaron Potoshnik.
Yeah. So, and you are a coach, right? In athletic training, you're a weight and conditioning. You have to be a coach and talk through form and all this stuff. Did you find that a challenge too, having to maybe do that virtually?
Yeah, that was probably the most challenging piece, Justin, because the rules state that you couldn't have any interaction virtually or otherwise with the athletes. So, you would try to certainly write the workouts that they're able to get the most benefits from, but while staying safe, that required little or no coaching at all. That was the most challenging piece. And then sometimes the athletes would text you and ask you questions about the workouts, which was great. And then you could go ahead and address that there and if they had a technique issue or a question about an exercise.
So then your transition to, some of the student athletes coming back onto campus, right, and coming into the weight room. What have you guys had to do to prepare for that and schedule out and use every bit of the facilities that you have, whether it be in South Campus or on campus? I mean, a lot of different changes that had to be made to accommodate the student athletes coming back.
Yeah, well, thankfully we've got a fantastic staff heading the protocols, if you will, with Laura Alexander. Ben Thien has helped out a tremendous amount. And we have these protocols where basically the athletes report to the South Campus facility. They have to do a daily check-in prior to them arriving. Once they pass the daily check-in, they do a temperature check. And then once they pass the temperature check, they're issued a bracelet. And the bracelet or wristband, if you will, is colored. And that color represents that day that they have full access to facilities that day. Without the bracelet, you have no access to facilities. What we had to do in Correct, or the weight room, is luckily it was a godsend. We had these 3 garage doors installed right before the pandemic hit. So it considers our weight room an outdoor indoor facility. So we keep those garage doors open for fantastic ventilation in the weight room. We only have 16 athletes at a time training in the weight room right now. Each athlete is assigned one rack and one platform, so they're socially distanced. And that area is marked off by floor tape. And all the implements for the workout are there at that rack for that specific athlete. So they don't have to leave that space and go grab other implements. And then there's a sanitizing piece, right? After the workout, we have to sanitize every piece of equipment that was used down to the collars on the bar. And that takes a little bit of time. And then we prep for the next group and go through the same thing.
Well, and in normal circumstances, you'd think, open air, this would be great, for COVID. And then all of a sudden you've got all this smoke. As if 2020 didn't need to throw more things at you. You have the smoke element now too. So I'm sure you're dealing with that.
Yeah, that's life is a bunch of curveballs, right? You wish it was a fastball down the middle with no movement, but it's just tons of curveballs. But our staff's doing a great job of staying positive and encouraging our athletes. And I think it's just a small hiccup right now on the radar relative to the pandemic that's going on. So we're standing steadfast and we're getting it done.
Well, Coach Uribe, under normal circumstances and every year, I think the things that you and your staff do is just really, really good stuff. And we're already obviously seeing that on the fields. And this year it seems like even more. And thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, and keep the hard work going, man.
Thank you very much for having me, buddy. Spartan up.